Insta360 has some renowned in-camera stabilization. If you're not familiar with Insta360, it is a 360 camera, so it sees in all directions, and then you can crop into that 360 view and add on some insane in-camera stabilization. Check this out. I can spin this thing in circles, and here's the footage playing live from the camera right now. I can spin it this way, I can spin it this way, I can shake this thing around. Today I'm gonna push this thing to its limits and see where it breaks down. I'm gonna do 3 tests. The real world test where I'm just running through the forest, handheld, see what the footage looks like. Then we're gonna move on to test number 2, which is the deliberate shake test, see how the footage holds up on that. And then number 3 will be the spin test. We'll see how fast we can spin this puppy before the stabilization and compensation breaks down. All right, let's jump right into this. The forest smells so good out here right now. Anyway, here's the setup I got going on for the run test. I have the Insta360 set up in the front here, and then behind it on this friction arm I have my phone, and you guys are gonna have the view that my phone is seeing, which this doesn't have any stabilization turned on. You'll just get the raw footage. You'll see all the bumps and jiggles as I'm running along, and then you'll have a side-by-side comparison seeing what the Insta360 is looking at and just how much it's stabilizing. I'm gonna start running, see how this goes. So you can see just how much stabilization the Insta360 is capable of, and that's when I'm just shaking this thing all around, not paying any attention to it, just running as fast as I can. So you can probably imagine just how smooth this would be if you were actually trying to make it smooth and run and like hold it steadily. It would be really smooth. Actually, really quick, I am going to show you a few seconds of what it looks like when I am trying to be steady. Alright, so here's what we got going on for the shake test. I have a Sawzall. I hooked on a friction arm clamp doohickey thing here, and got the Insta360 out here. And we're just gonna buzz this thing on and see how much it stabilizes. Okay, so I'm really impressed. You can tell that it's shaking around, but you can still see what's going on, and it's really doing an incredible job. Just to give you a reference point, here's what happens when I use a Sawzall with a camera on the end that doesn't have any stabilization at all. I'm gonna go ahead and say that it passes the shake test, and we're gonna go and move on to the spin test. So here's what I've got set up for the spin test. The Insta360 hooked up in this drill, which is capable of going 2,000 RPM. Now, I don't think the Insta360 is gonna keep up at 2,000 RPM, but we're gonna go ahead and start out slow and work our way up, and we'll see when it stops keeping up. Okay, so now you guys can see what the Insta360 is seeing over there, and this is 5K at 30 frames per second. Now, because the Insta360 has different frame rates, we're going to do this test 2 times, one at 30 frames per second and one at 100 frames per second, because I'm wondering if it'll keep up better at a higher frame rate. We're going to find out. So we're starting out here at 30 frames per second. Okay, now I have it set up at 3K, 100 frames per second. Alright, I'm not seeing a really big difference between 30 frames per second and 100 frames per second. It seems like it stops keeping up at about the same time either way. All that to be said, the Insta360 is a great camera. I do highly recommend it if you want one. Link in the description below. If you'd like to support this channel, we have a Patreon page. We also have merch. Those are linked down in the description below. Subscribe, watch other videos, and I'll see you very, very soon.